Hello. So welcome to... Oh, no, I'm doing that again. Stupid.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to episode 1 of Twin Speaks. This is our first watch, first listen segment of Avengers Infinity War. I am Pat, and you can find me on Twitter at @kidcombo_. And this is, of course, my twin brother, Andrew. What's your...
I'm at Andemonium on everything except Twitter, where I'm at Andemonium with a 0 instead of an O.
All uppercase. Okay, so...
Does that matter?
No, I don't know. Like, I mean...
It doesn't.
Looks
It's the same
weird.
with people that ask for web addresses. Is that all caps? Same with... I get that a lot with emails, too. It's all caps. My name is all caps in my email. It doesn't make a difference.
Do you think it does in some places?
No, it doesn't. I can guarantee you it does not. I'm going to look... See, guys. Okay. Nope, that's right.
What are you doing?
Looking it up.
Looking what up? Whether it matters if an email address is all capital or not?
It's insensitive. Case insensitive.
Insensitive, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the example is like recipient at example.com, and it's capital R, lowercase e, capital C, lowercase I.
They really want to give
I'm
you
not
a
gonna
full
do the whole
example.
thing.
Anyway, back to the movie. What did you think?
I liked it.
Because we saw it on...
Tuesday.
It was this Tuesday, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it came out last Friday.
Yep.
Yeah, what did you think?
Well, I liked it.
Do
I liked it.
Okay,
That's
so,
it.
yeah. And done. Oh, because like all the reviews are obviously super positive. So
I don't think they were as positive as some of the other movies. Like, I think there's other movies that did better.
other
Like,
Avenger movies
critically-
or like Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Like, even the last Thor, I think did better. And I think the thing that took a lot of people out of it was how many characters in it. And each character only has like 2 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, I mean,
So
according to,
outside of Thanos,
according to Sebastian Stan updates on Twitter, Sebastian Stan got a total of 2 minutes of screen time.
yeah, which I think is like, it's pretty average. Like, outside of the Guardians and maybe Thor.
Thaddeus
realize
Ross
how-
got 1 minute. Do you think that? I don't think it was 1
even
minute.
that
I
long.
think it was probably lower than that.
I think they rounded.
Yeah.
I think, but for this movie is not for the average movie fan. Like, if I was explaining this to somebody at work and they said, if you haven't seen even like, I don't know, like the first, not even sequels to movies, like if you don't know who any of these characters are and you go into this movie, you're going to spend the entire thing trying to figure out who everybody is. Even Thanos, like, they don't really introduce him outside of maybe being like the bad guy.
Well, yeah, you're expected to know who everybody is.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's why this movie didn't do as. That's why it's only at.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
at 83%.
Yeah.
Is because there's so much stuff. There's no exposition. There's no point where you're like, oh, I'm so glad that they explained.
Yeah,
this
on
to
the
me.
last episode of Marvel Avengers movies.
Yeah, it's
like
expected. It's the same with Civil War. No, I think Civil War was different because Anyways,
I think there was enough because you figure out who the characters are. Like, they sort of spent a lot of time explaining like who, what's his name? What's the guy? Is he German? What was that guy's name in the movie?
who?
In Civil War, the guy who's like organizes everything that or orchestrates everything that happens and like pins the two against each other.
Baron von something.
Yeah. Anyway, they like spend enough time where you're not like
Zemo.
Zemo. That's right. Even though like he's a new character in sort of like the entire scheme of the like Marvel Cinematic Universe, like they do spend a lot of time introducing him. Whereas like if you go to the like Infinity War, Peter Dinklage's character, it's like, who is this? And they're like, oh, he's the guy who makes the weapons. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, that's it.
And that might be the only, because I think outside,
But even that, right? Like,
but
that
even-
wasn't enough.
yeah, but he's not the only new character either.
No,
Like,
I know.
the Black Order, Thanos' guard or children,
Yeah.
get no introduction. You have no idea what their names are outside of like the one that the Black Maw, I think is his name.
Yeah, he
the one
actually,
that,
I think
the
he's-
one that speaks all the time.
Yeah.
He's the only one you find
Because Thanos
out his
says his name or something, right?
Yeah, but that's not even right away. Like I think they say his name when they go to Titan.
Yeah, that's like the last like 25% of the movie or something.
Yeah,
That's
so
like at that mark.
They don't even introduce those characters, and like to be fair, they're pretty generic. Like they're your like run of the mill
Villains,
King's
super
Guard
villains, yeah.
type thing, but yeah, I liked it.
Do you think that one scene
but I
with
get
like
it.
Captain America, like in that train station, I guess, with Falcon,
Black
Widow, and Cap, like when they're actually fighting them, and you kind of like they sort of semi defeat them before they get like beamed away. Do you think that that was a believable part of the movie?
Yeah.
Do you think like they could have actually done that?
Yeah.
That was a part where I was like, I don't know if it would have been that easy. Because I mean, like the whole fight scene's like maybe 2 minutes. You know, like it's brisk. Like they sort of go at it. They reintroduce Cap and sort of his like gang of outlaws. You know.
So I think what makes it maybe I don't think the less believable part is that Cap and Falcon and Black Widow like semi defeat them. It's the unbelievable part for me is that the Vision gets like his ass kicked right away.
Oh,
like
yeah,
he doesn't like as somebody who has an Infinity Stone, even in Civil War, he's tearing shit up. And then he goes and gets like just the shit pummeled out of him right away.
Well, even like Age of Ultron, he's like one of the key like key figures of them defeating that whole like.
Well, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was in Age of Ultron. He was definitely in Age of Ultron.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Anyway, so like, but yeah, you're right. Like, so back to like what we were talking about, him getting like beat up so easily.
I think that was the less believable part. I think out of the fights, like Cap is powered, Falcon isn't, but he's got like all that
enough
other shit.
stuff. Yeah,
it's the same as War Machine. Like he's got enough other stuff.
Yeah,
and Black Widow, I don't think they outright ever say that she's powered, but I believe that she is. Like I think that through just whatever, to an extent, she's had enough training to be believably.
Yeah.
So I think that part was the less believable part because Vision just gets beat up like right away. Like not
He's
even
like
Scarlet Witch is
yeah.
Scarlet Witch is Scarlet Witch is the wheat version, the grainy version of Scarlet Witch.
High on fiber.
It's like the like Spider Pig. Like there's an alternate universe where everybody's wheat.
Scarlet Witch. Just
Spider Wheat. Spider Wheat.
What is it? Well, like a grass of wheat? Is that what you would call it? Like a single blade of wheat? What do you call one single thing of wheat? Wheat? No, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's
Scarlet
like
wheat.
grass. You don't call a single blade of grass. Or you do, but it also like a lawn of grass is grass. Like it's not different.
Grasses. Lots of grass. Grass size.
But Scarlet Witch at least like stands her ground for the most part. The problem I think Scarlet Witch has in that is that Vision keeps trying to leave. So Scarlet Witch can't keep up with him and also try and fight the other two. Like she tries to fight Proxima Midnight, and then Corvus Glaive goes after Vision, and then she goes and fights him, and then ends up like carrying him away. And so like she's constantly battling the two of them because Vision is useless.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't be useless. So he gets stabbed like right at the beginning, and maybe that stops his powers like a little bit.
Yeah,
but
they
he's
sort of
still,
like say that where
they
it
say
is,
he can't
but-
phase.
Yeah.
So, but that's not he's still like super strong, and he still has the beam. Like he still
has
does other
an infinity
stuff.
like he has one of the things, right?
But anyways, that was maybe one of that and another scene, but we can talk about that after.
Yeah. Okay, so this is like the end phase. So the next movie, which
I think
is a year ahead,
The next
right?
one's the end phase.
Yeah, okay.
Because I think that wraps up everything.
Because we have Ant-Man coming up, the new Ant-Man with the Wasp. Is there one in between that? Between the next Avengers? I don't think so.
No,
I think it's just...
I think that's it. Because I think that Black Panther's also supposed to get one. But
isn't like there's a Captain Marvel one?
yes, so Captain Marvel.
Yeah, okay.
And Ant-Man. So yeah, there's Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out this year. Captain Marvel comes out March 8th, 2019, and then we had the next Avengers movie. After that is the next Spider-Man movie.
Oh yeah, right.
And then
okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is in 2020. So
it is interesting,
based on how many characters died, like Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It's like kind of interesting that all these characters die, or we're expected to believe that they're dead.
Yeah,
they disappear, whatever, and they all have movies coming out, right? Like, I think that was sort of the interesting thing, where like you have to almost have like you have to sustain your disbelief that they're actually dead. Because everybody knows that there's
and
more
I think
movies
that's
coming
expected too, is that like, and I was talking to somebody about this, is that all of the characters that are still alive are near the end or at the end of their contract with Marvel.
Right, okay.
So the ones that are dead, still have movies potentially coming out. Like Black Panther's only been in 2-3 movies. I think there was a reason Ant-Man wasn't included, even though I've seen some behind-the-scenes pictures.
Yeah, he was on set, right?
Of Avengers 4, but obviously, like, we don't want to say that because that's potentially spoiling Avengers 4. But Captain Marvel makes sense why they wouldn't include her in the movie, even though she's potentially, like, around. Like, I did read a quote from the Russos saying that they were excited about introducing her in this movie. So it's kind of interesting that they only had her in the post-credit scene, and we'll talk about that later. But
anyway.
My theory is that the heroes that are gone now are the next Avengers team. So that's Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I do think Gamora comes back, and I think that the Guardians will be the Guardians again.
Yeah, because almost all the Guardians disappeared.
Yeah, and I think Black Widow probably will stick around. I think her contract's coming to an end, but I do think Captain Marvel will be like the Captain America of the new Avengers.
Yeah, the new sort of phase of that.
Yeah, because they've talked about doing a new Avengers team, and the way that they talked about Captain Marvel is that she is basically the Marvel version of Superman in this universe.
Oh, okay.
In the comics, she is and she isn't. In the comics, she is and she isn't because she's kind of got like interesting powers where they're similar to Superman, but I don't think she's as powerful because she's part Kree.
Yeah.
The direct opposite of Superman in the Marvel universe is a guy named Sentry, and his powers are bullshit. He is like more than once used as a literal weapon.
Yeah.
But that's stupid. And I think the reason they haven't introduced Captain Marvel is they didn't find the actress suitable enough, but like I think that she is super powerful and the intention is to have her super powerful, and that's why they use that beeper thing in the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
But
because it's like supposed to be, oh, by the way, like we didn't forget about her.
Yeah.
Like it is coming up.
Yeah.
Because then they kind of cover all their bases from people like asking after the movie, being like, well, what the hell? Like, where'd she go? Where was she?
So I think the next phase, I think you'll end up with all of these heroes that are gone continuing to have like their 3 movie contract type thing.
Yeah.
Well, they have like 6-7 movie contracts, but 3 solo movie contracts. Like Black Panther is for sure going to have 2 movies. Like, there's no doubt. Like that movie was so successful. It may not be him. It may not be Chadwick Boseman. It might be, what's her face from The Walking Dead? I forgot what her name is.
Yeah, and that was the kind of the thing that we had talked about too before was like
because she's still alive.
And yeah, she's alive and he disappears. So if we're like looking at it sort of as like the kingdom of Wakanda to carry on, they still need like a sense of royalty or have that figure.
Yeah.
So why
either that. Or
it'll just continue with her as the Black Panther.
But I think because she's a royal guard, she's not technically royal blood, and they made like such a big point of that in the Black Panther movie is that you have to have some sort of like
tied to
the throne. Yeah. So it may not be her. It may end up being the
sister.
white gorilla.
Oh yeah, it could be
guy.
I guess M'Baku or whatever his name is.
I think that would be more logical, if not the sister.
Because I did think it was interesting that he
was
in the movie a lot more too.
Yeah, and I think that's on purpose, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
They show that.
Don't forget about
part
this
of it
guy.
is that they lose all the other tribes, right? Like they lose.
Yeah.
What's his face? part of the River Tribe and
The
stuff.
Rhino one.
Yeah, so like I think part of that is introducing another guy that might take the throne because he was at the end he was still alive.
Yeah.
So there's potentially three characters that could take on Black Panther for Avengers 4. Yeah. So, and I think part of me also thinks that maybe those characters aren't dead.
Do you think they like
Disappeared?
transported somewhere? Like,
Yeah. So I think part of the next movie is going to be based on the Age of Ultron book, which the Age of Ultron movie, similar to like Civil War and similar to Infinity War, was based a lot only on the name. So Age of Ultron book,
because they kind of take the
in the
idea
future.
of the two and just expand on it from the title rather than like what the actual.
I think they just took like the Wikipedia background on a
Yeah.
character and went like,
Spark
it would be
notes.
interesting if this happened because then we can introduce this and this and this.
Yeah.
So the Age of Ultron book is in the future where Ultron has taken over and runs like Earth with his Sentinels.
Yeah.
And there's like barely any heroes left, and the heroes that are left are all in this like safe house under Central Park, and it follows like Wolverine, Iron Man, Luke Cage briefly, Invisible Woman, all these like not secondary characters, but maybe less focal characters outside of like Iron Man, because Moon Knight's in there too. And the idea is that Ultron, spoiler alert, is not in the present. He's actually controlling Earth from the future using Vision.
What?
So he's controlling Vision at this like one central point from the future to control Earth. So they get this idea of like bartering with
So
him.
he's like manipulating the past
So-
or whatever.
And I think the part that in Avengers 4 will take is where these heroes don't necessarily die, but they get transported into this like this holding area, because in Age of Ultron they're sent there, and then they find out that there's also doubles of them that are Skrulls who are shapeshifting aliens.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of that book is time traveling. So Invisible Woman and Wolverine end up going back in time to try and kill Hank Pym to prevent Ultron from happening. They don't end up doing it, and then they kill Wolverine because he's being a bitch about it. And so like it's a lot of like that sort of stuff. And I think that is maybe what they'll take, is that maybe these characters don't die.
Wolverine being a bitch about it, not wanting to kill
Hank Pym, but then he
Hank
kills
Pym,
himself.
yeah, and then he kills himself,
he kills
so.
future self or past self. Future self, because the past self would.
Yeah.
So
That
I
mess up
think
the entire
they'll-
time
yeah.
continuum.
So I don't necessarily think they're dead. They'll do two ways. I think they'll either go back in time, and that's where like Ant-Man and the Wasp and all these characters that maybe weren't in it, like Hawkeye, will go back in time to try and like change that timeline so that Thanos can't get the cube or can't get whatever gems.
Yeah.
Or these heroes get transported somewhere, and the remaining heroes have to find them and then use them as like together. And then I think a third one that I just thought of was that they'll go like full on Infinity Gauntlet, the book,
Right. Yeah.
and bring in Adam Warlock.
See, and that's the other thing. I was talking to someone else, and they said that Adam Warlock's like teased at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or 1. Yeah, sorry. And like that's like the last time anybody's heard anything or like
So
even thought about it really.
I think that part of that was James Gunn just going like, what do I tease?
Yeah.
Oh,
I need
Adam
someone,
Warlock
yeah.
is kind of cosmic, and since I'm like in charge of all cosmic
He's kind of
stuff,
cool. Like nobody ever
Yeah.
talks about this guy.
like why not?
Yeah,
He's like this. I think he's like less interesting because he kind of just does whatever he wants. Like it's sort of like he's got this dumb plot armor a lot like Batman does, where like Batman is just so smart, but they never like reveal exactly how smart and strong he is, but they just like change it whenever it's convenient. Adam Warlock is so much the same. Like Adam Warlock can wield the Infinity Gauntlet, but also can like divide his consciousness into a completely logical being and then an evil version of himself, which is ridiculous. Nobody should be able to
Wish I
change.
could do that. No, that's you.
Right,
That's
Yes. And I think it'd be dumb to introduce him.
Yeah, that's
and I think he's in a cocoon. That doesn't make sense. How is that? Like, I get
He's a
Captain Marvel
pedophile.
being super powerful, but like having 2
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
And I think that's the other thing too, is like you were sort of mentioning Superman. Superman's the all-powerful being in
Yeah, to an
DC.
extent, definitely.
Yeah, to the extent of sort of like the DC universe, we can sort of have that as like a hierarchical
Yeah.
figure. But like, if we translate like Adam Warlock and fucking Captain Marvel into,
Yeah.
we can only you can't have multiple versions
No.
of like this demigod
Yeah.
kind of person.
And
And right now we could even say that's like Thor, right?
Yeah, so that's
According
what I was,
to like this
I was
movie
gonna
and even
say.
like the last Thor.
So I think I don't know if they'll end up introducing Adam Warlock because of how they've reintroduced Thor. Like, Thor was like, he's a god, and like in the movies he does things like that, but he doesn't like destroy Ultron.
No.
Like, he doesn't. And for him to like get this new axe and then to go and like throw it through Thanos is the next level of powerful being. So like I can see them having Captain Marvel, not Adam Warlock, because basically he's like, his power set is now like what Thor's power set is now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think like even now like he's pretty powerful, and I think the Marvel universe has done such a good job of like tempering all of those powers. Like, Scarlet Witch is the only one right now where you're sort of like unsure where her power levels are. Like, the fact that they're like, oh, you can destroy the gem, but then she doesn't really.
Yeah.
Or she
spends all that
does,
time,
she
like,
does,
getting
and then
ready
he
to.
reverses it. No, she does eventually.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then he just like turns back time.
Yeah. So like her powers are maybe underdeveloped,
Okay,
but
yeah.
they're there. And now Thor's are like, they're overdeveloped.
And that's the thing, like that's how Thor was, right? His powers were underdeveloped.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like if you look back to like the other movies or even like other Avengers of Thor,
Yeah.
it's like the people were writing the movie and director didn't really know. They're like, how do we
Yeah, it's awkward.
this?
It's
Yeah.
awkward because like how do you direct a god? Like, how do you write
Yeah.
in a god to make him more interesting?
Yeah.
And I think in the comics, he's never been like the most interesting character to me, and it was the unworthy Thor like storyline where he becomes interesting because
Yeah.
he doesn't have his hammer, he doesn't have all the powers. Like, he's
Well,
still
he
a
kinda
god,
just
but like
lacked
he
that,
just
like depth,
yeah.
Like,
So now that he has that depth, and even now like being overpowered, I still think that he's interesting because of how he fits into things.
yeah, right.
Yeah, so I think continuing as far as adaptations, I don't think this movie is
It's not a
exactly
one for
like-
one adaptation.
No, and I
Nah,
think that's and talking about Adam Warlock, that's where it's different. I think it's so similar to like Age of Ultron and Civil War, where the general idea, like what that title conjures in your mind,
Yeah.
might be similar, but for the most part, it's so different. Civil War had so many characters in it, and they use only existing characters, and Age of Ultron again, like, is
well,
completely
even Civil
different.
War, like so many people die, in the book.
Yeah, in the book, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's completely different. And then Infinity War isn't based on Infinity War at all. It's based off of Infinity Gauntlet and the book Infinity.
Yeah.
So it's based off two different things.
Which
and
I've
then
read Infinity. Like I haven't
Yeah.
read Infinity Gauntlet, but I read.
Infinity Gauntlet is basically where Thanos is trying to impress Mistress Death, I think. Like he's like trying to impress the literal like
Hey, Mr.
embodiment of death. Yeah, he's not a dude.
Oh, like the
Yeah,
actual
she's
like-
Mistress Death. It's not Mr. Death.
Oh, I think he said Mr. Death.
No.
Hey, Mr. Death. I'm Thanos.
How many people will I kill
To
be
make
your
you
friend?
love me.
Yeah. Mistress Death, and so at the beginning of the book, he just like snaps his fingers like he does in the movie and kills
Yeah,
everybody. And so Adam Warlock, and this is how many characters aren't in the Marvel universe. Like the first three that you encounter aren't in that cinematic universe. Silver Surfer,
Yeah.
Galactus, and Adam Warlock,
and like
and Mistress Death,
Yeah,
and Mephisto.
Mephisto.
Mephisto. It's just a giant fist, but he's French. Monsieur Fisto.
My Fisto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mephisto, I can't say it. It's a dumb name. Same with Galactus though. They're like, how big is he? He's like galaxy big. Galactus. No, that's too on the nose.
Do you ever wonder like how he walks around the universe?
It always depicts him.
It's always
walking.
like him walking, like he has legs,
and then like a planet in front of him.
Yeah, and then he's like, hey, I got here. I walked here. It took me so long.
He's walking on the Rainbow Road.
Some Mario crossing.
Yeah.
No, he's just floating around. He doesn't have legs, or he has legs but no feet.
They're just jets.
Yeah, they're just jets attached to his legs.
They're
like
not even attached to his legs.
Olympic skier Galactus.
He has hollow legs, and then the inside is jets. But yeah, that the movie is based off of, I think, loosely those books. And there's a lot of stuff that is similar, like they do go toe to toe with the Avengers, but so much of that book, Infinity Gauntlet, is controlled by what Adam Warlock does. Like Adam Warlock runs that book and is like running the storyline in that, and he's non-existent in this movie.
Yeah, which is kind of
the general idea is similar. Nebula has a bigger part, and she's kind of just like maybe not even a plot tool in the movie. Like she doesn't really do a lot.
She had 3.15 minutes of screen time.
Most of that's at the end too.
Yeah, and it's like her like not even saying. It's just her like laying on that or suspended in air.
Then she attacked Thanos briefly.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But like then you realize like how weak she is.
Yeah,
like, she's kind of just. Yeah. It's kind of like a toddler punching an adult.
Yeah. Which is always funny, like that entire like last Titan fight scene.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed. It was like the was it the AT-ATs on Hoth?
Yeah.
But like instead of someone actually tying up like the bottom of his legs, it's just like a whole bunch of toddlers like throwing things at him.
I was thinking that, or like Rugrats attacking Stu's dad.
Oh yeah.
Or is Stu the dad? I think Stu's the dad.
Stu's the dad. Yeah. It's just them attacking him.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Infinity is, I think Infinity is drawn from more for the Black Order, because they don't really exist otherwise outside of that book.
And even Thor, really, his involvement in that sort of like narrative probably draws a lot closer to Infinity the book rather than like Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. But I think overall it's pretty loose. It's the same as Civil War.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we said,
the name,
Age of Ultron,
Civil
is
War, maybe just like, Ultron. Yeah. Well, it's tough too because they only have so many characters.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and they can't go like,
which is funny
today,
because
like we're gonna use Silver Surfer in this book, and then people would be like, or in this movie, and go like, if they even have the rights, which I'm sure they do by now. Like Fox, I think the last movie Fox is gonna do is the Phoenix.
Yeah, that's right.
Movie with X-Men, and Deadpool.
Yeah.
They could, and then they probably have Galactus too, and then they probably have Adam Warlock. But like, do you introduce 3 new characters and Mephisto?
Well, yeah.
Like that's a lot to throw at people, and even then they had Peter Dinklage, who was awkward as shit. And like,
you didn't like him being like,
so I'm
the
not
giant
convinced.
dwarf.
I'm not.
Hey, I'm a
convinced
dwarf,
he's a
but I'm
actor.
also a giant dwarf.
Yeah, I'm not. And he was.
I like how they were
scene,
always positioned like as if they were looking,
but they're never positioned in a scene where they're talking to each other. It's always like
talking at that spot that he's supposed to be.
Exactly. And I am not really convinced he's a good actor.
Wow.
I don't think he is. I think he's got an awkward accent too.
Okay, first hot take.
Peter
Dinklage sucks. But to be fair, I like him. I think he's a good actor.
Say he sucks.
That's what you said.
I'd say.
You said he sucks.
If sucks is a scale, I think he's pre-suck.
Pre-suck. He's not totally suck.
No, he's not suck. I did like Chris Hemsworth though.
Yeah,
he was really good in that. Zoe Saldana was really good in it.
Tom Holland was great.
I mean, like he's such an embodiment of what Peter Parker and Spider-Man is.
The only thing is, I feel like I'm not gonna say like they did it with this movie, but I feel like the one thing that they kind of have to make sure they don't do with, and they being MCU, Marvel, or whatever, whoever's directing like the Spider-Man movies, is to not like box them in too much into
being a kid,
and like being the embodiment of pure, hey, I'm like really smart, but I'm also like a huge
friendly
dorky
neighborhood.
kid.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that's, if we go back to like Tobey Maguire, I feel like Tobey Maguire was like a pretty
Maybe in the
broad,
first one. Okay.
actor. Like, he's a good actor. But I feel like this movie kind of like you were seeing sort of the like other sides of Tom Holland, Spider-Man as an actor.
Yeah.
It does get emotional at the end.
Yep.
But like even like leading up to it, he's just like trying to impress, Tony Stark. He's not trying to be in the way or whatever. He's trying to contribute, whatever. I thought he was pretty good.
No, Tom Holland. Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Holland was great.
You don't get a lot of Captain America in it.
Nah, yeah.
So like, apparently he's wearing a wig.
Captain America gets. Oh man, where is he on this?
Chris Evans.
No, it's not. It's Steve Rogers.
Oh.
6:45. 6 minutes. It's almost 7 minutes of screen time.
Who has the most?
The most is Thanos with 29.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
It's mostly a Thanos movie.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Josh Brolin was unreal.
Yeah.
I thought he was like fantastic.
Yeah,
he was great.
He's very menacing, and then at the same time, like, it does such a good job of making him.
Well, you're supposed to hate him, but then
like,
you're like
feel empathy for him because of what he's doing. Like, it's this huge burden. He's killing everyone.
You're supposed to like me for killing these people.
Yeah.
So you guys don't have to do it. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like Thor's gonna wipe out all of Asgard.
Oh, I'll do it.
No, it's
I'll
have
kill
to.
all these
I
people.
have to kill half of everybody.
Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, okay.
It's Thor.
Look at his beard.
Does he have a beard?
No, it's like kind of trimmed. It's like not.
I think
long,
he has like a
but
patchy beard. It's like it matches his hair.
Yeah, the patchy,
patchy, like weird
cut with safety scissors beard.
It's a Stan Lee haircut.
Yeah,
he's like, again, Josh Brolin is so good at like making you feel for him in that movie. And then the one person I didn't like love was Starlord, Chris Pratt, and it's maybe just, I know that that's his character and he's doing what he's supposed to,
but they're
like,
really
it's just
shoehorning him into being dumb
and funny at the same time. Like, he was so much more interesting in the last two movies because, like, when he goes and meets like the living planet,
his dad, like
he goes and like he does a good job of like
having emotional range, right?
Exactly.
Like
but this movie like makes him, they're like, you're the funny guy.
Yeah.
And like, I would argue that Tom Holland was like that too. Like, he was like, I'm Peter Parker. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Like when he's going through all like the portals and he's like kicking and stuff.
And like, I would disagree that he has got like emotional range too. Like, I think him and Chris Pratt and Tom Holland are both like they're like, if you were the average moviegoer and you were like, can you describe Tom Holland or Peter Parker to me from the movie? He's funny. He's got quips.
Yeah.
Like, now describe Starlord. He's funny. He's got quips, but he's dumb.
Yeah, and
then I think that's what they did.
It's almost like they had like a sheet, and they were like, okay, like what do we do with these characters?
Yeah.
How do we put them in a category? And they're like, oh, we'll make Starlord and Spider-Man. We'll make them really funny. Okay, we can't have both of them funny.
Okay, he's dumb and funny.
And he's dumb and funny. Yeah, he's dumb funny. Like that one line where he's like, I'm 50% human, so that's 100% you. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know. And he like literally calls himself dumb.
Yeah.
But it's the same with what's his face? I think with Robert Downey Jr. is that Iron Man is less Civil War Iron Man and more Iron Man 3 Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's like, he's still going through some shit.
Yeah,
like, he's still like reeling from Thanos. He's still reeling from
his
like,
real life
burden of like being a superhero and trying to be a real person,
but also being mortal.
Yeah, and I think
mortal.
It still
like
makes him
traditional
interesting.
sense,
As much as like people want to hate on Iron Man 3, I do think that made him. I mean, he's human, so like he's only like he out of a superhero team, he's as interesting as the humans are.
Yeah,
but I think that still makes him likable, and he does a good job playing off of everybody. Like, he is a focal point, and I think him talking to Doctor Strange, who is like equally as arrogant.
Yeah,
really, really great. Like,
which is like kind of an interesting. Really, I think that was a sort of interesting relationship too, because like if you're familiar with the books, like and the Illuminati or whatever, like the two of them butt heads a lot.
Yep.
In the book.
Yep.
So it was kind of neat to like see that sort of play out in the movie sequence, because like, I mean, 10 years ago, were you going to go like when the first Iron Man came out, were you like, oh, I wonder if Doctor Strange is going to be in it? I wonder if like the Illuminati is going to be in this. Yeah. No, nobody thought that.
And maybe that's where they go to with the next Avengers movie.
Which would be awesome.
And then maybe like instead of writing them out, you write them into being Illuminati. Yeah. And then they only appear every once in a while.
Because it's like Black Panther,
Doctor Strange, Iron Man,
Captain America, Professor X.
Well, Captain America's only in it briefly.
Yeah, because he leaves it or something.
No, they like knock him out.
And right. Yeah. Because of the Civil War stuff. Yeah, I think so.
I don't think he is.
Yeah, no, I think
can't remember. Anyways,
I can't remember either. I think it is though.
Yeah, it's funny too seeing two Sherlocks talk.
Oh yeah, right.
They both play Sherlocks at like different points.
Yeah. That was kind of weird.
But yeah, I think Benedict Cumberbatch was good, but he was definitely arrogant Doctor Strange in this. Where in the Doctor Strange movie, he was like likable to an extent. He was less like that in this movie.
And I guess we're supposed to expect that to happen, considering like the first Doctor Strange, the movie happens like immediately after him becoming Doctor Strange.
Well, as he's
becoming, sorry. Yeah. And I guess this one, it's like, you know,
he's already been
the protector
it for a while.
Of like whatever, right?
And that's why he comes into Thor Ragnarok. He's in it briefly. It's him showing them that like he's like becoming accomplished.
Himself,
he's a sorcerer supreme, and he's good at it. And then this movie, they're like, he's really good at it.
Yeah. And that I guess that's, you know, that's where you get the arrogance from too.
But I loved the what's it called? The A-team of like Scarlet Witch and Black Widow, and then what's her face from, I keep forgetting her name, from Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, the guard. Royal Guard, yeah.
Because there's like that team in the Marvel comics of like an all-women team. And they were sweet. And that, like, I know that there's, like, always resistance to having, like, an all-women movie. Yeah. Because you're always going to get guys that go, like, it's only women, I'm not going to go to it.
Well, it's like it's like the new Ocean's 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, the first thing people were talking about was, like,
they don't
need to make one. It's like, well, who cares? Who gives a shit?
Yeah. And so, like, I would be totally into that movie because, like, all those characters are established enough, but they probably will never do it.
Yeah,
A-Force. That's what it's called.
A-Force.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I've read that actually.
But I think the way that you get around it is you just do it. Don't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You just make the movie. Don't acknowledge that it's a women movie. Don't acknowledge that like it's an all-women team.
Yeah. This is A-Force. That's it.
A-Force. Make the story interesting. Have the characters do what they do. You've got enough like established actors out there. Like just let them.
Well, and that's what I don't understand too. Is like even if all these actors like people like, you know. Scarlett Johansson, people love her as I keep forgetting
Black Widow.
Black Widow. I keep thinking it's Scarlet, but
Scarlet
that's Scarlet Witch. You know, everybody likes all these actors, and then as soon as you pile them into their own movie, it's like people are gonna make a big deal about it.
People are always gonna find a problem with it, though.
Yeah.
They were great, and that scene was great. I think Black Widow was so interesting in this movie, but you don't get a lot of her, and
she didn't have a lot of dialogue.
But Scarlett Johansson has like been a focal point of all of the Captain America movies too. So like that's fine.
It was just cool to have her as like a continuation, as like the kind of still in the movie, still in the narrative.
Yeah. But I was like, I don't think there was a bad performance to be honest.
No,
like,
I think
everybody, and I think part of that is that everybody gets limited by their screen time. So like, you don't have enough to make a decision on if somebody was bad or not. You take it for what is there, and you have nothing to compare it to other than like other movies. And I think that's less about performance and more about like characterization.
Yeah. But even like if you think back to like you know, like Drax and what's her name, Mantis?
Yeah.
Like you can't make up your mind whether or not they were bad. They had like any sort of bad because they just didn't talk enough for you to make a decision on it.
Yeah, and I liked them too
and that's
in that
like,
movie.
There's so many characters.
Yeah, they were interesting too. Like I think that they were written well. They were written better than he was, Starlord.
And it was cool to like see her doing things.
Yeah,
you know, like she wasn't just like a stowaway. She wasn't like in just the team or whatever.
Yeah,
she was like a useful part. And like even at the end when they're trying to get Thanos. You know, she's
like
talking.
the reason that they're able to like
do that.
Like, yeah, she
Get
subdues
close.
him.
Yeah.
Drax does like obviously do Drax stuff where he like tries to kill Thanos the
Yeah.
second he sees him, but like
See,
that's better than what Starlord does where he hits him
I was gonna
in
say
the
like
face.
in comparison to Starlord, I thought he was funnier than
I did too.
like the whole why.
But he's so much more of a like he's definitely like that team is comedic relief in the movie.
Yeah.
But Drax's comedy is so different than anybody else because it's supposed to be dry. It's supposed to
Literal, yeah.
It's supposed to be very literal. So like it's almost like more relief than the rest of them because the rest of them are very like jokey, like Rocket. So I think his characterization is so much more interesting, and he does a good job. Like I really like him.
Yeah.
Dave Bautista.
Shout out.
Like he's gonna be listening
he's
to this, and
listening?
he's like, "Oh, thank God they
Acknowledge
they
me.
liked
These two idiots.
I do think that what was maybe awkward was, and we sort of talked about this before, is that Thor being as powerful as he was. I do think progression-wise it makes sense, but having him there was a little too convenient for the story.
Easy way out.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, like it's as easy as it is because he is a god, so you can't just always have him subdued.
Doing God stuff.
Like that, and like you can't always have him like being unworthy Thor, where he's like less powered than he was because he doesn't have the hammer. Like you can only go so far because he's this cosmic entity. Like he's gonna find a way to be cosmic. He's gonna find a way to be a god. So I think they put it off as long as possible, but at the same time, you can't look at it and go like.
But to be honest, like that was the coolest part of the movie. It was like him being like, "Oh, I'm not even like I can't. My brother died because I wasn't that powerful. Like I couldn't do anything about it."
Yeah.
And then like you spend the rest of the movie being like, is he gonna be that? How powerful is he gonna be?
Yeah.
And then him getting the weapon, which I have to say, like now that we're talking about it, like my least favorite part of the movie was them being like, where the fuck's the handle? How are we supposed to attach the cool axe? And then Groot just like picks it up and chops his arm off. It's like, come on.
But yeah, and I think
he doesn't do anything the entire movie.
He doesn't do anything the entire movie, and then it's
He's
only at that
useful.
point where he like snaps out of being like an angsty teen to like.
I mean, he's playing video games.
But then
10 seconds before it.
But at least like that's not the only thing he does.
Nah,
because he does like start to fight when they're all fighting. Like he does do his part.
Yeah.
It's just up to that point. It's a little too convenient.
It's almost like they were like storing him away, and they're like, okay, now when do we bring him out?
Yeah.
Okay, now, let's do it now. Like,
and they did,
fine.
and I think part of it is that they have their hands tied because at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, that's how he is. Like he's supposed to be that angsty teen.
Yeah.
And because this movie and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 happened so quickly, like one after another, there's no time for that growth of that character.
Yeah.
So they do sort of have their hands tied, but I do think they could have done more before that to make him into the story so it's less like just critical to the point.
Well,
plot.
I mean, even if they did it like where he was like an actual angsty teen and he's just trying to like, part of the reason that he's like kind of the way he is because he's trying to figure out where he fits into this team, But the fact that there was like only 3 of them, it's just Rocket, Groot, and then Thor. And then he's like, look, I see my chance. Like, now I'm going to do something.
Yeah.
It's like, well, he wasn't even trying before, really. Like, you couldn't even tell he was thinking about it, really.
The only reason he was paying attention is because the screen gets cracked.
Yeah, right? Like, he's interrupted.
Yeah. So him, the Thor-powered part. At least with Thor, he goes through, like, the motions of becoming powered, too. Like, he gets his axe. I just like that so many of these movies reverse what's happened in the last movie.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I have one eye, and also I don't really need the hammer. And then in this movie, they're like, I need the axe, and also here's my eye back.
Yeah, it's like when they gave him his eye back. All I could think about is like, I wonder if he complained about wearing an eye patch.
Maybe it's hard to do like.
Hey man,
this big of a movie.
Getting tired of wearing this eye patch.
I was trying to figure out how the eye patch stuck to his eye.
Yeah, right.
Because it's not
like
he just unless it's like
pops it off.
CGI. No, I mean like the eye patch looks like it sits there.
Not in the. Yeah.
Do you think they just have like a green band that goes around?
Yeah, maybe.
So they
but I feel like
it out.
Maybe they would see his hair like kind of pinned back too, like if he was wearing an eye patch.
That just seems like extra work. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I thought you meant like in the movie, like he's always squinting a little bit to hold it in.
Maybe.
And then you just see his other eye really big.
We'll never we'll never know. Movie
Yeah, because he
magic.
doesn't have any more. Yeah. He just has to wear like a funny contact now.
I
That's
think
kinda
outside of those, I don't like. I don't think things come too easy either. Like when Thanos does, I think the only thing that Thanos maybe does is he always is determining how powered he is.
Yeah.
He goes from like all powerful to less powered to super powerful to less powered. Like when he's picking off the Avengers, he's doing it so casually and like he could just kill them right there.
Oh yeah.
But he doesn't, and he picks like what kind of energy to throw them around with.
He's very calculated in how he's doing it.
But is that calculated, or is that just like the way the movie's written? Because I think that like he could have just gone like, I don't want to deal with this. Just like, let me kill everybody around Vision, take the stone out of Vision, kill Vision. But instead he goes through like sending an army and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. If he could just port anywhere he wants, why wouldn't he just do that?
Yeah.
So I think as far as like the plot goes, he does kind of pick and choose how powerful he is a little too casually. I don't think it's calculated. I think it's just them making the movie keep rolling instead of just having it as like a 2-minute movie where he just ports in, ports out.
If it's just him like porting in and out, like killing people with the full extent of his power, then like the movie wouldn't be that interesting, because then you're like, well, then what's he waiting for? You know?
Otherwise, that's the only thing I kind of complained about. And,
yeah.
But I do, and then the last thing that I have is when Doctor Strange hands Thanos the time gem, partly because and I tried to rationalize it as when he saw all these different possibilities, these billions of possibilities. That was the only one where, like the one that he talks about is the only one where he sees that he hands the time gem to him.
Is that that's how he solves it? Like
I think so. I think he saw that
the different things of happening, and he was like, oh, the only one that it'll fix it.
Everything's happened so far, and then all I have to do is hand him the time gem,
and that'll fix it all. Like, that's the one that we win.
It'll set us on that course. That, or he lied,
and
there was no possibility that they survive.
Which, to be honest, like I could see that being both of them.
Screw it, like I'll just end it now. At least I'm controlling the fate. Here's the time gem.
Spare everybody else, and
we won't know until the next movie.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it being the one where he's like, him handing Thanos the time gem, and being like, "Oh, this is the only way to do it." I could see that being it, because he wouldn't be able to tell anybody. Nobody would let him do that.
Yeah,
you know, like even when he does give it to him, and Stark gets upset with him, and he's like, "Well, it's the only way." It's like, well, because like nobody would believe him if he's like, I have to give it to him. Like, this is how we win, but we also lose at the same time.
Well, I think, and that's maybe where his arrogance is part of the plot too, is that like he considers himself so brilliant that he doesn't think anybody will understand.
Yeah. So he doesn't even
like maybe he takes Wong, but like for the most part, Doctor Strange is so used to being Doctor Strange that he just does things on his own. So like he's like, they're not gonna understand why I have to do this, but as Sorcerer Supreme, I have to. That's my duty.
Yeah. Which is funny, because like Wong, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go back to the same.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, that's his duty, right? Like, I think that's his duty. So like, he's supposed to do that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
He'll probably end up being temporary Doctor Strange to the next movie.
It's just kind of funny, because like all this shit's happening.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I have to leave. He goes, and he's like sitting in the sanctum. He's just imagining like him sitting on the ground, everybody's disappearing, and that's the thing. We don't even know if he disappears or not, right? Like,
no, we don't. And that's,
if half
there's
the population
so many other
disappears,
characters,
and
there's so many other characters we
whatever.
don't know disappear yet. One of my biggest problems was that Bruce Banner never turns into the Hulk. I get why. So I think one of my problems was with the Hulk is that Bruce Banner never turns back into the Hulk, and he like fights with it. And I get why, because the Hulk gets embarrassed by getting the shit kicked out of him, and he's supposed to be a child,
and he's kind of reeling from that. Yeah,
but he's the Hulk. He should just like tough. I hate how like
I felt like that was a sort of a plot hole.
Yeah, I hate how
they didn't explain quite
retcon the Hulk has been over the past. Like you look at Hulk in the first movie, Hulk appears in.
Yeah,
Universal Studios Hulk.
Yeah.
and he's an adult Hulk. And then every movie since then, they're like, no, he's a child. Like the Hulk is a child. Bruce Banner's a man.
Yeah.
Like I hate that that's been retconned to the point where like he gets embarrassed. Like I feel like he's just Benjamin Buttoning. Like he's just becoming younger and younger.
Yeah.
Like he's the fact that he like doesn't turn into it is like this is the perfect opportunity to make him so powerful as the Hulk that you go into a World Hulk movie or Hulk
Planet or whatever.
World Breaker Hulk. And you have the Hulk like destroying Earth because he's absolutely unconsolable and he's just destroying everything.
Yeah.
That I would love to see that, but they didn't do that, and they were like, "Nah, Bruce Banner is like the Hulk's embarrassed."
And they were like, I mean, like it's funny because like they even have like sort of a semi relationship, but that never even like they don't go any farther with it. It feels short. You know,
they go into it a little bit in Thor Ragnarok, but yeah,
it's like almost too stifled.
Yeah,
even like they could have even gone and done a relationship piece or like a B plot or whatever with Romanoff, right? Because like in the comics they have a relationship. Even in the other movies sort of they have a relationship.
They tease it ever so slightly.
They like tease it so slightly that it's like
but I think part is that they don't want to take away from Black Widow being
or
a
the
badass.
rest of the movie. Yeah, and her being
like,
independent.
She's so much better in that movie than Bruce Banner is. Like Bruce Banner plays the part of Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
In Infinity Gauntlet. Like he's the warning to everybody else, but outside of that, like he holds his own and he kills one of the Black Order, but at the same time, like he like I think having him have a relationship with her would take away from her.
Yeah. And like even while you said like he kills one of the Black Order guys, I thought it was interesting too. He didn't like beat the shit out of him or whatever. Like he used the Hulk Buster. Was it Hulk Buster? Yeah. So like, but he's still Bruce Banner.
He's still Bruce Banner.
Yeah, like he's like I'm gonna put this on him and he's gonna kill him.
He still kills like Black Dwarf, which is sweet.
Yeah, right. Like
yeah.
Okay, what would you rate it then? Like overall, what was?
I think because like there's some things I would rather them do than what they did. I would give it 6 out of 7.
6 out of 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Out of 7.
Yeah.
You know, I would probably do the same. Maybe like 5 out of 7. There were like a sort of a
5
few.
out of 7.
Yeah, 5 out of 7 because like there were a few things like the Groot thing kind of just. I think it bothers me too much that I can't.
I didn't
just go over that.
Nah, I think I understand it, but that's fine.
And then, like we said, like the Chris Pratt stuff. I don't know. That was like it kind of brought me out of the movie. I did like his relationship with Gamora.
Yeah,
and I do like how. They're like, oh, we can't hold him back. Like he's gonna because he like in his head like he just lost the one person that he loves, the closest thing that he has to any sort of family.
Mm-hmm.
But then and then they make him into this like stupid, bumbling idiot.
I get that.
And it's like okay, so I think for that like I would do 5 out of 7.
It sounds so much worse than like 7 out of 10. Or
yeah, right.
10,
like or 8 out of 10 or something. Like
it's too late.
5 out of 7.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. That was Twin Speaks, episode 1. First watch, first listen. The new segment or the segment that we're doing, where we talk about things we saw one time,
played one time,
yeah,
listened one time,
and we give our thoughts about it. How wrong they could be. Anyway.
How long?
Thanks. You can find me at kidcombo _ on Twitter.
I'm at Andemonium, and if you like dog pictures, follow me on Instagram.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.